Welcome to the ICANN APAC-TWNIC Engagement Forum. This section is the ICANN policies. We will have two ICANN members, Valerie Heng and Howard Lee, to give us a presentation about the current IDMs and Gtld's trend of development. So please applaud for their appearance on the stage.
Good afternoon, everyone. So the next few sentences, I'm going to say it in Chinese, just to wake up everyone, because it's already a long day. 我们刚才已经一整天下来，这个话题都好沉重，感觉都是在政策制定啊、公共安全啊这些领域。所以我们觉得我们应该转一下画风，把这个画风变一变。那么我们这一节呢，会讨论一些、讲一些我们市场上的东西啊。So I'm Howard Lee from Registrar Services of ICANN, along with my colleague Valerie Heng from the Registry Services. So the two of us are actually the two persons who serve all the registries and registrars in APAC region. So, and we belongs to the Global Domain Name Division, and we are happy to give you an update on how we do during these days. All right. So today we're gonna share with you about 6 topics. It's a lot of content because they allocated 100 minutes to two of us. So we have to figure out how to fill up the time. But hopefully those content are being interested to you. All right. The first one we will share with you is the ICANN Gtld Market Health Index, which is we hopefully give you a brief overview of the global domain name market. The second one is the multi-stakeholder policy development process. We already heard a lot of it today already, but we give you a slightly different perspective on it, like in detail how we do things in the process. The third one is the implementing Gtld policies. So as we know, we already talked about it today, the policy are developed by the community. However, the policy were our policy recommendations. So down to the earth, how we do things as a registrar or registry, that's the process. We call it the implementation. And that's where ICANN staff will step in to map out the implementation detail. The fourth one will be the new Gtld subsequent procedures policy, PDP. It's a long one, but basically what it said, it's the next round. We call it the next round of the new Gtlds. So the fifth one is the internationalized domain names. We all probably have some ideas, but if you don't, we will give you a brief overview. The last one will be the upcoming industry events in Thailand. So hopefully you can make it there too. When I was in the audience, my colleagues said, I should check up the energy of the room. So in order to do that, we actually prepare some small quizzes along the way, and we will give out the prizes for anyone who can answer the quiz. All right, we do prepare some of the small gifts over there. Right. For the Gtld Market Health Index, first I have to apologize because the newest report we weren't able to make it available before this meeting. We were trying to, but it didn't happen. It will release either later this week or early next week. So the data I'm using will be from the report from our last year's. It actually belongs to our ICANN's Objective 2.3. What's that mean? I will talk about it in the next slide. But you can download the full. You can download the full report on our website. All right. So one of the reasons that our new report hasn't been able to make it published on time is this one. We actually move it to the domain name marketplace indicator, which will include the CCTLD data. The old one, the beta version, only includes the Gtld data. The new one will include the CCTLDs. So the project background is actually, it was first initiated, launched in November 2015. It was one of our KPIs, right? It actually checks our Objective 2.3. Okay, be remember all those numbers where you can get the prize. Right. The objective actually is supporting the evolution of the domain name marketplace to be robust, stable, and trusted. So it's more like on these three areas. So it's just one of the objectives underway at ICANN. One of the big initiatives is the Open Data Initiative. So where you can check a lot of domain name ICANN data on that. All these metrics actually are developed in consultation with the Community Advisory Panel. Before I'm moving on to this slide, anyone would like to be answer like when this project was initiated? Anyone? When was it initiated? The market? Nobody? What year is it? Okay. I guess I will keep my prize for this one. It was actually November 2015. Right. So despite our region, the APAC region are almost the largest region for the domain name market, we only have 6 of the advisory panel members join the panel versus 15 from North America and 13 from Europe. So here I encourage every one of you, if you're interested, you're specialized in data analysis and gathering, research, we encourage you to join the advisory panel. Right. Shall we try again? Anyone remember how many advisory members we have in the region? 6? Yes, the prize goes to there. Yeah. Yes. Okay. All right. So we can go into some of the numbers because I know a lot of people like numbers. Numbers tells a lot. Geographic diversity on the registry side. Actually, Europe is leading with 36%, and North America are second, followed by 34%. Our APAC region, it's 27%. Latin America and Africa are quite really small right now, which marks potential growth there. All right. So here's the chart that shows you the jurisdictions with at least one Gtld registry operator. How many in Taiwan we have? We have two. We have two registry operators in Taiwan. And we have 50 jurisdictions has at least one Gtld registry operator. So the number for our region were not very impressive on the registry side. But on the registrar side, it's a lot more exciting. Yes. For the distinct ICANN registrars by the ICANN region, we have 37.6%, far more than the North American with only 25%. So we are on the registrar side in selling, doing business, we are actually leading on this one. Okay, let's try again. Who's leading the registrars? Which region are leading in the distinct registrars percentage? Anyone? Anyone? APAC! Yes! The prize goes to Crystal! Yes. Yeah. It's fun. So the jurisdictions with at least one ICANN accredited registrars, we have 66 jurisdictions. We have 3 registrars in Taiwan. One is Net Chinese, that's the earliest one. And we have TWNIC itself, is a CCTLD registry and also ICANN accredited registrar. And we have a newly accredited registrar, is the Chunghwa Telecom. Yes. So we have 3 in Taiwan. All right. How many registrars in Taiwan? 3. That goes to that lady. Yes. With the highest hand. Raise the hand. So. From the competition side, we also look at whether it's enough supply in the market. So in the competition side, for the registries, the percentage of a distinct Gtld registry operators are 45%. What does that mean? What does that mean with the distinct Gtld registries? Because some registry, we have more than 1 TLDs. So like New Star, they might have over 100 TLDs. So 150, yes. What? 250, yes. Yes, yes. So, but we count all those as one distinct registry. We combine all those into one group. So with that, we have 45% of all the registries are distinct, are not related or not affiliated. So the average number of the registries held for Gtld registry is 2.2 TLDs, the top level domain names. The number for the registrar is actually, the percentage is actually much lower because a lot of a registrar will apply for multiple accreditations. The reason why, a couple of reasons. One major reason is that they will do the job catch for expired domain names. So if someone's domain name expire and they didn't renew, then the registrar will do the job catch and catch that name. So they can either benefit from the traffic or, you know, they can later sell the domain name at a higher price. So. For the Gtld registrations, by the end of 2017, it's around 200 million. That doesn't does not include the CCTLD number. It's keep more stable, and if we have the newest report, you can see it's kind of growth, have a healthy growth last year, over the year of 2018. To distinguish the growth of the Gtld registrations, we actually have the legacy versus the new Gtld. What's the legacy one? Anyone knows what's the legacy TLDs? How many of legacy TLDs? Anyone knows? Okay. 22, actually. Oh, you missed by one number. Yes. So the legacy one, we count it as like .coms, .nets, .orgs, .biz, and a lot of .tels, .go, and also .asia we have. So it's 22 of them. So the new Gtld are specifically refer to the Gtlds delegated through the 2012 round of the new Gtlds. So those are right now, it's like 1,500, yeah, of those. So if we look at the registration rate, actually the legacy as a, let me see, if we can we see over, should I point it this way? So we can see that in 2016, we have a very big spike for the new Gtlds, and then it kind of like having a bad year in 2017. It really drops for the one. Yeah. And in general, they are relatively stable. That's the addition. When we say addition, means new registration. So those are the new registrations year over year. And we come down to IDNs, brands, and geographic names. Okay, let's try again. Let's see how many remember. By the end of the year 2017, what's the registration volume for Gtlds globally? Around how much? How many? Raise it. Be confident. Yeah. Anyone? The total value? 200 million. Yeah, 200 million. Yes. At least we remember the 200. Yes. Yeah, the denotation was 200 million. Yeah. So here we have the IDNs, which like .Taiwan in Chinese, or .政府, right, in Chinese. So brands are like, what's it? HTC. We used to have no more HTC. So, and who else from Taiwan? All right. Okay. We don't really have a top brand in Taiwan right now, but we do have a geographic name. Taipei is the geographic Gtlds, and the backend is New Star right now. Yes. So those are the different type of the new Gtlds, and if we look at the number. They are not totally impressive, but for the top brands, they actually have a very good high in 2016. And they were still okay in 2017. If we look at the registration volume, it's actually kind of a bit declining. We have a pretty good year in 2014 and also 2015. So since 2016 and 17 are not doing so well. Right. So looking at after looking at the registration, we will look at the market stability, which is the registrars. because the registrar are the actual person who sell you the domain name and service you to serve you. So for the past few years, we have a good year in 2016, and we don't have such a good year in 2017. Although like we have still have 41 accreditations, new accreditations in 2017, but the one who terminated are also a lot in 2017. So it actually counterbalanced the growth of the registrar in 2017. And it was a good year in 2016, which is we have like 57 accredited, and we only have like 12 terminated. So when we say termination, it's like they give up their accreditation, no longer be ICANN accredited. And the voluntary means the blue bar here means they say, oh, I don't want to do it anymore. You know, they just inform ICANN that I want to terminate it. The other one is the involuntary termination, which means they do something bad and they didn't fix themselves, so we terminated their contract, terminated their accreditation. So it's a reinforcement action. All right. Okay, should we try again? I see Crystal's ready. Which year is the best year for registrar growth? Was it 2016 or 2017? Anyone? Was 2016 a good year or 2017? 16, yes. The lady back there, yes. All right. So at the end, we come to the trust, which is the UDRP and URS. UDRP stands for Uniform Domain Name, Uniform Dispute Resolution Policy of the domain name, which is you find someone using the domain name that infringe your trademark, you can use that UDRP mechanism to get the domain name either transferred to you or delete that domain name. The other one is the URS. It's called the Uniform Rapid Suspension, which is a registry action. You find someone infringe your trademark, your rights, then you can complain through that mechanism, and the registry will suspend, like stop the resolution of that domain name for the lifespan of that domain name. Right? So actually, we kind of look at it. The 2017, the total numbers has been go down. So actually, for the domain dispute, 2017 was a good year because the number actually went down. And among all the complaints, all the disputes, over 70%, almost 80% are against the registrant. What does it mean by against the registrant? Means the existing registrant who has the domain name, they were not using the domain name in a good way. So the panel decided the domain name should be either deleted or being transferred. So it means those guys were not doing very well, behaving well, and were punished in a way by the panels. All right, that will actually conclude the first section. Any questions? Any questions? I explained very well, I guess. No questions. All right. Yes. Do you need a mic? Okay, yeah.
From your last slide on the UDRP, the number of decisions against registrants had gone down significantly in 2017. Is that because the overall cases went down, or was it just the decisions against registrants?
Oh, so this is the overall number. And this is the overall case number they received, yeah, including UDRP and URS. So among all those cases, 70 or 80, almost 80% are against the registrant. So the complainant won the case. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Okay. Any other questions? All right. Then we can move on. So it actually moved to the heavy topics again. Not so fun. It's the policy development. Well, let's see. We have the jargons again. Generic name supporting organization, GNSO. Anyone really not participating in ICANN before knows what that means? Anyone knows what that means? Probably not. Yeah. So within ICANN, there are different group stakeholders. One type is the supporting organization. It's called like GNSO. So all the Gtld registries and registrars, they will fall into this category of it, right? And we also have CCNSO, which is all the CCTLD members will fall into that group. So like TWNIC, or in China CNNIC, and Hong Kong the HKANIC, and also like JPRS for Japan. So those will be the CCTLD, CCNSO group. And we also have another type. I think we have seen it this morning and just now, like GAC, GAC. What the hell is GAC mean? Anyone? Anyone know what GAC stands for? GAC? Yeah. Yes. Prize goes to the gentleman. Yes. It stands for the Government Advisory Committee. Yes. I lost the words. So these are the two types, the advisory committee and the supporting organization. And within these two, only the supporting organization has the rights to initiate a policy development. So the advisory committee, they can give out their opinions or contributions to the process, the policy process, but they cannot make a new policy. They do not have the power to initiate a new policy. So that's a very important distinction over there. So how we make a policy? It's a very lengthy process, and it's a community effort. First one, we have to identify an issue. Okay, there's a problem, we have to solve it, all right? Then we will organize a whole bunch of people, volunteers, to draft out the issue statements. What exactly is that problem? It's called the issue report. Defining the issue, the scope of the issue, all those things. So once the report is done, it will submit it to the GNSO council for consideration. Only when they said, okay, this is a real issue, and the scope is fine, we should do a policy on that, then we will actually move into a real policy development process, okay? So it moves to the step 4. We will build a working group consists of the community members, not ICANN staff, not us. It's all registrars or community IP lawyers, all those community members. Then we will discuss, we will have, on the staff side, we will have the policy team to support their work. Regular meetings, they often have like 2-3 hours meetings, a week. So to discuss all those issues. So they will work on that, and they will build the report, the policy report, and submit it to the GNSO Council for consideration. If the GNSO Council reviews the report and consider it's appropriate and adopts it, then it goes to the last one, which is voted by ICANN board. So the whole process from step 1 to 6, if it's fast, 2 years. If it's slow, then it could be 5-6 years. So just for develop the policy per se. So it involves a lot of negotiation, compromise to reach the consensus. Okay, let's try again. What's PDP stands for? Anyone? Yes, 2 hours. It's already on there. Policy development process. Yes. Liana, our prize goes to that gentleman. Yes. So in this stage, any questions? It's a bit brief. Any questions on PDP? Maybe, yeah, I can understand like people don't say, what the hell is that PDP? I like to give an example. I always use examples like to interest people. There's a process during the ePDP, the expedited ePDP process. So they're sitting in a room full of people here, and some are from FBI, CIA, those law enforcement people. And on the other side, sitting the registries and registrars. The LEA people said, I need this to be responded within 24 hours. And the registrar said, I cannot guarantee you the 24 hours. We have to sleep, okay? With all the time difference, I cannot guarantee the 24 hours. And the LEA people said, you have to do it 24 hours. It's life and death in stake. And the registrar, give an example. How, if we don't respond in 24 hours, why it's a life and death? It's a domain name. It's only a domain name, right? So basic, the LEA people actually give an example, say, they found in a web posting that a lady is going to suicide, to kill herself, right? So they don't have any trace of that. They actually contact the registrar who actually find out the owner of that website, who actually host all those postings. So they were able to get to that registrar, and the registrar point them to that website owner, and then the website owner actually point them to that lady, all within like 24 hours or something. And those guys actually, the LEA people actually went to that lady's house and saved her. But it's a good example, but it's still very hefty requirement for the registrars. Say, what if it's a U.S. case and then the person or the website owner are in Taiwan? There's 12, even 15-hour difference there. So all those debates are going on in that PDP process, right? So if we just say PDP, what the heck is that? But if you hear that kind of discussion, you know what's going on in there. Right? So let's go to the implementation of it. The policy only give out recommendations. It's us, the staff. Once our ICANN board approves the policy, it will say, okay, we direct the CEO and the staff to implement all those recommendations. So we will have to map out all the steps to carry out that policy. And sometimes we might have to develop a new service. Say, for example, a registrar data escrow, right? So we require all the registrar to escrow their registration data with us. But we are not a service provider, so we have to go to the market and recruit those specialized company to provide such a service to get the data and store it in a safe place. Why those data are important? We have many cases, the registrar just ran away. They say, oh, I'm not happy, I'm bankrupt. I run away without informing anyone. So all their users are hanging over there saying, huh? Where's my registrar? My registrar website doesn't open. Where's my domain name? So all those cases actually happen. That's why we need all those data to carry it out, to assign it to another registrar, so all the users can be served, be continually served. All right? So those are the implementation. So if we're looking at it, the first one will be like 1 to 2 years. That's basically the policy development process, PTP over there. So the step 2, once we have the ICANN board approve the policy, we will build a team to analyze the policy. And we will actually create what we call the IRT, the implementation review team, to help us. The implementation review team are not staff. They are community member. And most are the working group member of the policy team, the policy development team. They are there to ensure we as the staff does not implement the policy different ways. They're here to ensure we do the things right. So we are actually overseen by the community member during the process. So once we move to step 3, we will actually map out and develop all those services. And on step 4, we will announce it. So all the things are ready. We say, oh, all the registries and registrars, you need to do these things, okay? And starting from what date? We usually give 6 months to 12 months for our registries and registrars to implement the new policy. So at the end, we will have our compliance team keep track of all the implementations. So if someone doesn't behave okay, we will send them the compliance notice until they correct themselves or being terminated by us. All right. So let's try again. Who responsible for implement the policy? Who's the main body who responsible to implement the policy? The community or the ICANN staff? Community or ICANN staff implementing the policy? Oops. Okay, it's the staff. Okay, us, to make the implementation. The policy is made by the community, but make it work, it's the staff who make it work. All right, I think I'm just browsing through all 3 topics. Any questions? Okay, cool, I see everyone's tired. Okay, then I will give the time to my colleague Valerie here to give you the rest of the topic.
Thank you, Howard. And my name is Valerie, member of the ICANN Registry Services team. So how's everyone doing? Yeah, so hanging there, we just power through this last part for today. Yeah. Here, I will introduce an example of a current PDP related to the new Gtld. Okay, it's called the new Gtld subsequent procedures PDP, right? So if you are aware, there has been an expansion of the domain name space since the launch of the 2012 new Gtlds, and with over more than 1,000 top-level domain names added into the root zone today. And the ICANN board has committed to open another round of the new G, but has made it clear that no new date for the next round will be announced until the community has completed the various reviews related to the previous round and the subsequent procedures PDP is completed. And in December 2015, the GNSO Council initiated a PDP to consider and analyze the issues of the new subsequent procedures. So the PDP working group come together, they review the implementation of the last round to determine if any change should be made to the policy and implementations. Right, so the outcome of the PDP may lead to changing the existing policy principle, recommendations, and implementation guideline, develop new policy recommendations, or supplement new implementation guideline. Next slide. So the PDP working group formed 5 work tracks to look at the overall process, support outreach. Number 2, legal regulatory issues. Number 3, string contentions, objections and dispute. Number 4, internationalized domain names, technical and operations issues. And number 5, geographic names at the top level. So during the ICANN meeting at Kobe, the working group has substantive discussions on the various topics that were published for public comment. And it envisions that all streams of work will be incorporated into a final report. Right. Next slide. This is a timeline shared by the PDP working group at ICANN meeting in Kobe. And we're looking at the final report to the GNSO Council anticipated at the end of this year. Right. Okay. So what happened after the working group delivered its final report? Some of the expected next steps, as we see in the PDP process, the GNSO Council will consider the recommendations and report to the ICANN board for considerations. And if the ICANN board adopts the recommendations, it will direct ICANN staff to start the implementations of the PDP recommendations, which likely to include a revised applicant guidebook. Right. So just to continue with the quiz fun, how many work streams are there in the subsequent procedures PDP? 5, yes. Okay, so here are some of the resources about the new Gtld subsequent procedures PDP to help you know more and get involved. Is there any questions on this PDP? No? Okay. Next, I'll bring and give an update on the internationalized domain names, IDN in short, and we may have some experts in the audience could help to answer any difficult questions that you may have. Right. So what are IDNs, right? They are actually domain names with non-Latin characters or Latin characters beyond the letters A to Z, digit, and hyphens. And the internet is growing increasingly complex with more user, professions, industries, and scripts than ever before. The landscape for the domain names has changed remarkably. And the overall numbers of TLD character length and the scripts has increased. So until the late 2009, the top-level domains were only restricted to the Latin letters A to Z. And after 2009, the IDN TLDs were introduced in other scripts, including Arabics, Chinese, and Syriac. So IDNs enable people around the world to access domain names in their local language. So I can establish an IDN program to help the development of a multilingual internet using IDNs. And the objective of the program is to enable the deployment of the domain names in local language and scripts used by the community globally in a secure and stable manner. It focuses on the planning and implementation of the IDN top-level domains, including IDN CCTLD and Gtld. The program also supports projects on the effective use of the IDN at second level of the DNS as guided by the community. Right? Next. So currently, there are about 152 IDN TLD in the root zone, and we have 2 IDN CCTLD for Taiwan. Who can tell me what is the IDN Gtld in Taiwan? No registry here? Yes, 连政府. So here we are trying to show the various components of the IDN work in these big pictures. So we are all very familiar with the ASCII domain names, which are formed by letters, digits, and hyphens that I mentioned just now. So even within this small character set, there has been some confusion in letters like 0 and O, 1 and I. So looking at the slides in the middle circles, with IDNs, domain names can be represented in local languages and script. So they use this Unicode-based standard, which expands the characters to almost 100,000 characters. This does not include symbols like the emoji or punctuations, the semicolons, or the parentheses. So with such a large set of characters, the possibility of confusion in the labels can increase immensely unless they are managed carefully. Right? So on the second level domains, registry restrict characters and define variant code points by using IDN's table. So in addition, IDN guidelines are used to manage the confusion and address security of the end users. And on the right side, on my right, the community-based panels for different scripts develop scripts-based, we call the label generation rules, LGR, proposal for the root zone LGR. So these are intended for use in the future IDN TLD applications. So they are like variant code points like in Chinese and the Arabic script. So I will touch on the updates on some of the work in the following slides. On the IDN variant TLD management, recently ICANN board approved the recommendations to address the management mechanism for enabling the IDN TLD and their variants label. But the ICANN board has requested CCNSO and GNSO to take into account the recommendations while they develop their policies, how they define and manage the IDN variants TLD for the current and future applications. They also need to coordinate a consistent solutions developed for the IDN variants CCTLD and new Gtlds. Right. So some of the example here that are on the screen to show the variant of the TLDs. Next slide. So this is the label generation rules for the root zone, the status. For Chinese specific, the root zone label generation rule group is finalizing its variance analysis. I think they are trying to complete for public comment by end of the year. The other component is the IDN implementation guideline version 4.0. This is to minimize the risk of cyber squatting and consumer confusion. and the guideline apply to the second level IDN registration policy and practice under the top level domains, contractually binding to most of the GTLD registry agreements, to the registrar accreditation agreement, and recommended through the IDN CCTLD fast track processes. Just to show the history of the IDN guideline development from the version 1 in 2003 to today, the version 4. So what are the topics that was covered in this guideline 4? There are 7 of them, and it was published in May 2018, currently going through the analysis and implementations. The guideline is anticipated for presentation to the ICANN board next month in May. And if approved, it will be effective in 2020 and 2021. Right? That's all for the IDN portion. Any questions from the audience? Yep. Okay. So finally, just an advertisement here, 打个小广告. So here are some upcoming industry events coming up in Thailand next month. First is the Gtld Industry Summit. It is an opportunity for the registrars to come together, engage, and address issues of their mutual interest and importance. And this year is the 5th annual summit, and the first time to be held in the Asia-Pacific regions. So please join us there. Following the summit at the same venue, we have 3 other events. We call the Registrations Operations Workshop, ROW, the ICANN DNS Symposium, and the DNS OARC, stand for Operations Analysis and Research Center. So we hope to see you all there next month. Any questions for the Gtld Summit?
Since it's a commercial time, I do it in Chinese. 打广告啊，这个欢迎大家来参加这个 Gtld 峰会。可能大家就是说不太听说过 Gtld 峰会，跟我们 ICANN 会平常的 ICANN 会有什么区别？那我们平常 ICANN 会呢，会很多人参加，2、3千人的大家参加，那么包括我们政府的人，对不对？我们这个 CCTLD 的人，还有我们叫 at large 这个的人来参加，还有很多这种 IP lawyer， 对吧？知识产权的律师啊，这些大家很多很忙，所以呢谈的东西也很多很杂。那么我们后来我们的注册局、注册商就要求我们 ICANN 另外再开一个会议给他们，就专门给注册局和注册商谈生意，谈他们之间沟通之间怎么去这个运作 operational 的，还有这种技术上的 technical 的这些东西问题怎么解决。对，比如说举个例子，我们需要去 query 这个 GoDaddy 这个最大的这个注册商的这个 whois， 那么如果 GoDaddy 不认识你的话，他们是有这个 IP limit 的啊，他不认你的 IP 地址没有在他的 IP whitelist 里面，这个白名单里面，你连 query 都没法 query。那么或者说你在了，他又给你一个很低的 threshold， 就你 query 1个小时 query 他100次，他就给你 cut off， 就给你暂停好长一段时间。那你就要跑去跟他讲说，哎呀，我这边很多的需求，你给我1个小时涨到1000或者5000，那这种很 down to the earth 这种具体的运作的事情，业务运作的事情，就会在这个 Gtld 峰会上大家去谈去讨论，包括我们一个政策落实的时候，因为可以有很多种做法，那大家可以相互学习说，哎，你这个怎么做的？哎，我这边怎么做的？那我们这边做怎么对接？这些东西很具体、很实在的东西，都会在这个 Gtld 峰会上去讨论，啊，所以我们打个广告，欢迎大家去参会。The last one is keep in touch. Yes. Any questions? 有什么问题吗？可以用中文问都没关系。我们好安静。Understand it's a long day. Even our lunch session has some work to do. Yeah. Right. If we don't have any questions, we can give you back 22 minutes. Isn't that great? All right. Thank you for all. And thank you to give us the opportunity to present here. Thanks. Yeah.
Okay, thank you all for participating in today's section. For now, today's section is over, and we will hope to see you tomorrow. 今天的议程已经结束了，非常感谢各位的参与。那我们也非常期待各位，我们在明天可以看到各位。那同时请各位注意，就是您的卡片背面有 QR code， 那只要您用你的手机扫描之后呢，填写我们的问卷，您就会获得，然后再到我们的注册柜台，我们这边会提供您小礼物作为问卷的礼品，这样子。非常感谢各位今天的参与。